And I think that Gina Hill got it right. Don't you think so?
Oh, yeah.
She got it right. How many of us have so often, when our worlds came crashing down, had to depend on our mother's love to lift us up? And our message this morning, done by our own Reverend Martin Bernard, who is the minister here at this center, is entitled, "Thank You, Mom, for Your Undying Love." And while Martin speaks to his own mother, I'm sure he speaks to all mothers for us in this generalization. So welcome to the podium, Mr. Reverend Martin Bernard.
Thank you very much for your very warm introduction, my brother Cedric. A pleasant good morning to one and all. I greet you in love as we worship together for the glory of God.
We greet you in love and worship together for the glory of God.
And I say a happy Mother's Day, not only to the mothers who are gathered here before me physically, but by extension I say happy Mother's Day to the many mothers who are tuned in on the various social media platforms to which this service will be transmitted. We say happy Mother's Day indeed. And I want to take this opportunity before going into the message to recognize those of you who may be here for the first time, whether you're a mother or not, whether you're male or female. If you are here for the first time, can you stand so we can give you a blessing? All those who are here for the first time. And even though I may know the persons who are here for the first time, perhaps at my invitation they are here, I still want you to introduce yourself. Can you just say your name and your general area from which you came? So you can start with that.
Georgiana Hogan from Port of Spain area.
From Port of Spain area, Georgiana. Welcome. And Georgiana is a member of my family, my sister's daughter-in-law. And Jeanette Bernard, you can hear from the surname, she's also my cousin. And she comes from Rev Martin. So thanks very much for coming. Can we give them the Unity song, Blessing, We're Expanding Our Horizons? Can we sing it for them?
We're expanding our horizons, the place where we are free. We're constant of God's presence, wherever we may be. We're expanding our horizons, and we daily practice prayer. We're radiating center of goodness everywhere.
So we thank you so much for coming.
Horizons, down for us. Reaching forward, making all things new. Because our love is hidden of God's presence everywhere. We turn our backs on past mistakes and finally lead to prayer. New horizons in all things of mine. Reaching forward, good is all to find. We sing the joyous melody of truth that sets us free. New horizons in unity.
We have not sung that song for quite a while, so I didn't know that you actually remember the longer version. So I was interrupted before you were ready to finish. Thanks a lot for that. So thank you for coming. We know that you have brought us a blessing, and you will take an even greater blessing away with you. And there, of course, is your Amara, the daughter of Georgiana. Welcome, my dear. Okay. Thank you for coming. I also want to recognize the fact that we may have some persons here this morning, even though they have come to Unity before, and in fact are long-standing members. We have not seen them for quite a while, and we want to recognize them. I want to recognize spiritual leader Jill Richards, who has been with us for quite a while. Thanks for coming. I want to recognize as well our dear long-standing member Rosalind Sabero. Thanks for coming. Anyone else who perhaps may not have been here for a while and I'm not recognizing you, we thank you for coming this morning. And I want to also recognize some of my family members, even though they were here before. My big sister Hazel and her husband Montgomery. We have already met Georgiana, who's their daughter-in-law. Thank you for coming. And who else am I recognizing? My cousins Maureen and Cheryl, who are also here this morning. Thank you for coming. I think Rossis is on his way, and he should be coming at some point in time. And all my dear friends and colleagues who are here this morning and may not have been here for a long time, we welcome you. I trust that if it takes a Mother's Day service to bring so many of you out in your numbers. Perhaps you should see every Sunday going forward, as mothers do. We heard that beautiful song by Gina Hill a short while ago, where she tells us there's nothing you can do that can change her love for you. There's nothing you can do that can change a mother's love for you. Is that true, mothers? Yeah. You're better able to say than I can, you know. There's nothing you can do to change a mother's love for you. That's why, friends, at times children may allegedly commit the most heinous crimes, you know, and yet mother would stay at their side, even though they may have committed the most heinous crimes. For example, a son may be accused of some very serious offense, and it is not unusual to hear some mother saying, "Not my son. My son is innocent." And even though there might be glaring evidence to the contrary, they still stand by their children's side. Why? It is not because they are trying to be intentionally deceitful or deceiving, but they do that because of a genuine, sincere love for their children, a love that is unending, a love that never dies. Isn't that true? True. And so the song also tells us there's nothing in the world like a mother's love. There's nothing in the world like a mother's love. So today, we join brothers and sisters with people all over the world, around the world, in paying tribute to mothers, and as Cedric rightly said, paying tribute to the very principle of motherhood on this, the second Sunday in May, as it traditionally done. And so, friends, indeed, we pay tribute to mothers for this selfless love, for this undying love that they display, even at times at great personal sacrifices. At times at great personal sacrifices. So for this we say today, thank you, Mom, indeed, for your undying love. And you know, this undying selfless love that comes from mother, so infinitely tender, so nurturing, so caring, is in fact one expression of the great love of God. We heard that hymn at the start of the service, the opening hymn. The love of God is a grand love. And so the mother's love is one key expression of this love of God that is grand, that is demonstrated and pushed forth into visibility by mother. And you know, friends, even when mother passes on from this world, makes a transition, as many of our own mothers would have already done, you know, we still, beloved ones, find comfort. We find comfort in knowing that she continues to live on in our minds, continues to live on in our hearts, continues to live on in the way that we live our own lives and affairs. Because that love is undying. And you know, friends, some of our own behavioral traits, some of our own likes and dislikes, may well be as a direct result, whether we realize it or not, of our maternal influence. Some of our own behavior years after may still be the result of maternal influence. I can tell you for me. You know, everybody who knows, you know, I have a passion for singing. Perhaps after preaching and singing, I love to sing. And I sing all genres of music. You know, not just religious hymns, but all genres of music. And I love to sing. But you know what? When I reflect on it, my mother loved to sing. Isn't that so easy? Our mother loved to sing, and she sang with a passion. And as a matter of fact, I can tell you that I can well recollect that hers was the first voice I heard singing to me repeatedly nursery rhymes when I was a little toddler. Yeah. So that by the time I got into preschool, I was already singing those nursery rhymes because my mother already taught me then. I could have been the choir leader in preschool, if there was such a thing. And even in growing up, I used to be singing, way back, maybe if I was young as Amara, singing songs that were way before my own era. And even adults around me will say, but how this young boy know these old songs, why? You know, why? Because my mother taught me those songs. So my mother loved to sing, and I loved to sing. My mother was also a prayer warrior, as he is, I'm sure will tell you. Anytime you're looking around and you're not seeing Mom, she's in some corner praying, always praying. And I think I took that up from my mother. I was also, from ever since, a prayer warrior. So that my prayer didn't just come into focus as a minister from way back. So my mother was a prayer warrior and I am a prayer warrior. Behavioral traits. My mother loved to socialize. She loved having a good time with friends and singing and dance. She was also a great dancer, if I remember. I didn't take up that trait from her. You know, and so she loved to socialize and, you know, go out with friends and be happy and so. And you know what? I love to socialize. Karaoke, not karaoke, but COVID-19, sorry, notwithstanding. Usually I'd be going out and socializing and doing my karaoke and so with friends. But of course, COVID-19 has put some measure of restriction on that. What else? My mother loved to cook. And well, I better stop there, yes? Because the good book said that thou shalt not tell a lie. You know? I think in the 9th commandment we are told thou shalt not be a false witness. You know? So thou shalt not tell a lie. So I guess I didn't take up all my mother's treats. Right? But that undying, that selfless love of mother is so replicated by us as children that when we grow up and become mothers and fathers ourselves, the way that we in turn relate to our own children may be largely influenced by the parent-child relationship, ladies and gentlemen, that we have with our own parents. And so that legacy of undying love, lives on throughout the generations of parenting, never, never, never ready and willing to die. I want to make reference to the scriptural reading that was done so well by Dane a short while ago, coming from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 1 to 7. And I want to crave your indulgence to reread it, because I want to strike a parallel between what is being said here by Paul and a mother's love. So I quote, "Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but have not charity." Now there are some versions that have it as charity, other versions that have it as love. But I think that the marginal note of emphasis is really love, because that is the divine principle, and even charity is a subset, integral to the principle of love. Okay, so though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I have become sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy, and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could move mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burnt, but have not love, it profits me nothing. For love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself. It is not puffed up. It does not behave rudely. It does not seek its own. It is not provoked or thinks evil. It does not rejoice in iniquity. Does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in truth. It bears all things, believes all things, endures all things. What is Paul really saying? What is Paul saying in this epistle to the Corinthians, and by extension, what is he saying to each and every one of us? Because what he's saying to the Corinthians is a divine principle that he's espousing to each and every one of us, sitting or standing here. He's really saying in essence, you know, as we will say in local parlance, you could jump high, you could jump low. You can do and you can say what you want, but love conquers all. Isn't that what he said?
True.
You could jump high, you could jump low, but love conquers all. Love conquers all. And indeed, a mother's love stands out as a key expression or example of that love that Paul is so aptly describing in 1 Corinthians. The epistle truly typifies a mother's love. Think about it. The scripture said, love suffers long and is kind. Think about a mother's love. A mother's love suffers long and is kind. Mother's love is certainly kind. And when you think of the pressure that mothers go through in order to give birth to the children, you know, I mean, I don't know that I could talk about it from a practical experience, of course, but I'm sure you mothers would support that. The pain that you go through, the 9 months of physical discomfort, I would imagine, you know, and yet you do it, you go through that, and some mothers go through several times over. Our own paternal grandmother, Janelle and Maureen and Sharon who are here, and myself, our paternal grandmother had 12 children. So she would have gone through that discomfort over and over again.
13.
It was 13.
My father was a twin.
Oh, but we corrected. I didn't even know that. You know, I'm hearing that for the first time. I always thought it was 12. So 13, because Janelle's father, who was John Bernard, was a twin. Well, thanks for that correction. So 13 of them. And their mothers would have given birth over and over to more children. I think I know a lady who had about 17 children. Mother's love suffers long. It endures pain. And even at the time of giving birth, think about the pain that mother goes through. Think about the pain. You know, I have often, from my own personal standpoint, this is not necessarily a particular religious philosophy that I'm articulating here, but I have always wondered, if perhaps the only pain that may exceed a mother's pain is the pain when Jesus' palm of hands were going through, were being pointed and crucified to the cross with nails. Maybe, so that a mother's love endures so much pain. It does not envy, it does not parade itself, it is not puffed up. Quite often, mother performs her motherly duties without thought of any compensation. Isn't that so? Because you love your children and you're thinking about what's the payback you're going to get. You're not thinking of self-aggrandizement or self-praise. This love does not parade itself coming from mother, but it is a love that endures all things, emanating from the love of God. That is a grand love. And you know what? A mother love is willing to make personal sacrifices. A mother's love is willing to make personal sacrifices. I once read a story which I wish to share with you now, that puts a mother's love in true context, in its true perspective. And it has to do with a gentleman whose mother carried only one eye. She was a one-eyed lady. And he was always very embarrassed to introduce her as his mother. Even when he was in school, he was very, very embarrassed, so humiliated when she had to visit the school, so that other children would see that his mother only had one eye. So he was very embarrassed whenever that occurred. And he grew to be a big man, and became a professional lawyer, and he was still embarrassed. In fact, that embarrassment probably turned somewhat into hate. And he wouldn't want his mother to visit his law firm, to have to interact with his legal colleagues or his clients and so on. And so much so that he wished that his mother would die simply because she had one eye rather than two eyes. And you know what? Eventually, he got his wish. His mother did die. But friends, it is only when that happened, he took from her hand as she lay on the cold ground. He took from her hand as she lay on the cold ground a letter that was addressed to him. And for the very first time after all those years of living, the mother explained in the contents of that letter why she only has one eye. This is what she had to say to her son. That she sacrificed her eye by giving it to him when he was quite young and lost his eye in an accident. He was too young to remember that. And and so she sacrificed one of her eyes to give it to her son. One can well imagine how the son then felt at that point in time. And friends, that is the kind of love that a mother has for her child. The kind of love that is referred to in 1 Corinthians, a love that does not seek its own, a love that bears all things, endures all things. And I'm sure, brothers and sisters, that there are many among us here this morning. There are many among us here this morning who would, as mothers, who would go without something to eat and all, if it would mean that your children will get something to eat. Isn't that so? Many mothers who would go the extra mile for their children without even a second thought, friends. That's a love that endures, that goes beyond selfishness. It's an undying love. And I wish to speak this morning to all those of you out there, who are fortunate to still have your mother with you on this plane of existence, which all of us may not be fortunate to so have. Just last night, or yesterday during the day, my wife Pat learned of the passing of a dear aunt of hers who was more like a mother, the day before Mother's Day. And so the family was very saddened at that. So I wish to pay tribute, to her memory. And friends, I want to speak, as I said, to all those who are fortunate to still have your mothers with you on the plane of existence. And some of us may feel that you know more than she knows, probably because you have the letters behind your name, the BA, the MA, the PhD, this and that, and the other. Remember, I say to you, the sacrifices that mother has made so that you can have the letters behind your name. Remember the sacrifices that mother has made so that you can have those letters behind your name. I well remember, my studying days, when I was pursuing O-levels, A-levels, and even at the level of university. And I would be sitting for very long hours in the night, studying and so on, and into the wee hours of the morning. And you know what? My mother would sit with me for a lot of those hours, and she didn't understand exactly what I was doing. I mean, truth be told, I don't know that mom had more than a primary school education here, so nothing to be ashamed about. But I'll be doing my French, I'll be doing my Spanish, my econ, and then the university courses a little way further down the road. And she would be sitting there at my side, you know, nodding on herself, just wanting to give me that kind of physical support while I am studying. At times I myself will have to say, Mommy, it's okay, I'll be all right, you go inside and take a rest. And she had this thing about goat milk, you know. She used to give me, while I was studying, a daily supply of goat milk, because she had this theory that goat milk will strengthen your brains. Maybe she was right, because I think I turned out all right. Maybe she was right. And that is the kind of sacrifice that mothers will make for their children. And friends, let me say this. We are never too old to receive motherly advice or motherly counsel, even if mother may have no letters behind her name. We are never too old to receive motherly advice or motherly counsel, even if mothers may have no letters behind their names. Never too old to receive that. I always remember a story that my elder brother, who he resides in Canada with his second wife, and I say that for a purpose, so I will come back to that, resides in Canada with his second wife, children and grandchildren. But I always remember a story that he used to share about mom. Now he's about 13 years my senior. Okay, so he's almost like a sort of second father to me. And he always shared this story that when he was about 21 years old, so I might have been a little boy about 7 or 8 or something like that he met this woman who, let me recognize the arrival of our dear long-standing member, Mr. CJ. Welcome. Have a seat. Yes. So he always shared this story of meeting this woman who maybe might have been about 10 years older than he was. So if he was 21 at the time, he would have been, she would have been 31 or so. But he fell madly in love with her, and they started to court. And then the time came when he decided to take her home to Mama. You know there's that old song, I took her home to Mama? Well, that song was really my brother's theme song after that experience. So he took her home to Mama, as the song said, and said, Mama, I want you to meet my future bride. But as the song says, it was a true life experience for Winston. My mother took one look at her, and then she called Winston to her side. And what do you think she told Winston? He said, she told Winston, take time to know her. Take time to know this woman. I don't think the woman heard about that. But she told him, take time to know her. Take time to know this woman. But my brother, my big brother Winston, responded with laughter. And he said, Mom, there's a song you're singing there, man. What I'm telling you, there's a song. Take time to know her. And shortly after, he proceeded to get married to this woman, quote unquote, of his dreams. And not long after, they both migrated to the United States of America, Winston and his new bride. But you know what? In a few short months after they migrated to the United States of America, he had cause to write my mother back in Trinidad and to say to my mother, you know, my wife, she left me and gone. She abandoned the relationship, and I didn't know where she gone to. She just abandoned the relationship and she left. And so my brother became painstakingly aware that he was used as a ticket to get into the United States of America and nothing more. So what my mother did, my mother replied to Winston in letter. That's something she also liked to write a letter. So I guess I like to write too. And she responded to Winston by saying to him, well, son, when I told you to take time to know her, you told me that was a song. So I am writing this song to you now. You've got to pay to learn. You've got to pay to learn. Never underestimate the value of a mother's counsel. And I can tell you, my dear sister Hazel and husband Montgomery also celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary, as indeed Winston celebrated his 50th wedding anniversary with his second wife in September last year. In fact, before I get to Hazel and Monty, when he met the second lady that he intended to get married to, he came all the way down to Trinidad with her. She was also Trinidadian, and introduced her to Mom. And Mom said, yes, something about this lady I like very much, and gave her the nod of approval, so to speak. And then he returned to America, they got married, and then they migrated eventually to Canada, and celebrating 50 years now of marital bliss. I think they celebrated 50 years of marital bliss last year, September. And my dear sister Hazel, who is here, and her husband Montgomery, they also celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary on the 4th of March this year. Give them a round of applause, why not? Celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary on the 4th of March this year, and I had the honor of presiding over the renewal of their marital vows. It was indeed an honor for me. So it would seem as though Hazel listened to Mama and took time to meet and to truly know the man of her dreams. Well done. So beloved, never underestimate the value of a mother's advice, of a mother's counsel, for it's not that it emanates so much from human intellect, you know, but it emanates out of our heart and out of our consciousness of true love, divine love. So we are gathered here today, not just to pay tribute to biological mothers. Of course we are paying tribute to biological mothers, which perhaps may be in the main. But as the Daily Word tells us today, to everyone who blessed us with a mother's care, we pay tribute and honor today. So, to all biological mothers for your undying love, we thank you. But we also say thanks to women who may have raised children and may not have given birth to any, maybe adoptive mothers and so on, stepmothers. We pay tribute to you for your undying love here today. We pay tribute as well to single mothers, and there may be many single mothers among us here. Women who have had the dual role of being both mother and father to their children and have done a fantastic job and are still doing a fantastic job single-handedly. We give praise and thanks to you. We honor you on this day as well. We give praise and thanks even to grandmothers, you know. Grandmothers at times may have to fill in for their own sons and daughters in taking care of the grandchildren. And I think that they really enjoy doing it, you know, because it gives them a second opportunity to go through that period of child rearing again, and you know, and they truly demonstrate that love. I actually marvel at Pat, you know, she's sitting in the corner there, and the way she treats with our grandson, Prince, you know, with such love and such care. He's supposed to return to his mother sometime later in the year, and I don't think that we want him to go back at all. Yeah? That is the love of mother or grandmother. And you know, even elder siblings at times are called to perform the role of mother, of parents, in the absence of the parents, and they do a fantastic job. I can tell you that another sister of mine who lives abroad, Marilyn, to some extent she performed that sort of motherly role when I was growing up in primary school, and mom herself was working, and you know, and she would fulfill that role sometimes, you know, of that motherly role. So we pay tribute even to elder siblings. We thank you for the part that you have played and continue to play in the rearing of children and in child development. What about single fathers? I think someone, maybe it was Martin Osford who made mention about single fathers. Single fathers at times are called upon to perform a dual role of both mother and father in the absence of mother, not so? True. It may be that the mother has died and the father is the one left with the responsibility. Or they might have gone their separate ways, this happens, but the father is the one with that responsibility to raise the child or to raise the children. We pay tribute to you today. And you know what? We pay tribute today as well to those mothers who have exited this plane of existence. We pay tribute to you for the legacy of love that you have left us, a love that is undying. Now some may say, Martin, but you're talking about people that are dead and so on, you know, we're going on. But I make no apologies for that. For we continue to share with those who have gone before. We continue to share a love, a bond that never dies. A bond and a love that can never die, can never be broken. And they continue wherever they are on the pathway of eternal life to live as love in our own hearts and in our own minds. And we can never forget that. And so we pay tribute to the mothers that have gone before us along the journey of eternal life. In this regard, again I refer to my own mother, and forgive me if I'm referring very often to my own mother, but after all it's Mother's Day. You know, that's the example I have. I wish to take this opportunity to pay tribute to my own mother, who passed now, is it 30 years now, yes sir? In 1992. 30 years now. I can tell you, she's the one who brought me into unity at the tender age of 12, into unity, and there was no turning back since, you know. And you might watch my young face and say, probably that was just 10 years ago, Martin. But it's a little longer than that. It's a little longer than that. Brought me into unity at the tender age of 12, and there was no turning back. And so for the many occasions when even as a young man still at home, she would wake me up from my bed and not say, Martin, go to church. But she would say, let us go to church. So she would set the example. Let us go to church, and we will go to church together. And even as a man of about, a young man of about 18, 19, 20, when I started a party and so on a Saturday night, you know those days back in the 70s, Cedric will know about that, Martos will know about that, you know, and so, I don't know if you even know about those days, about our age, maybe, you know, we on a Saturday, Monty of course will know about that, you know, and CJ of course, you know, those were the days of the disco man, and on a Saturday night you're going down Festive Street to Palava to party, you know, or if you're tired of Palava you go across on Abercrombie Street to Rolls Royce, you know, or if you're tired of the heart of Port of Spain, you go down in the west and you're meeting, I think it was Infinity. And then there was another one called Heritage Man. So man, I made a circuit of all the discos on a Saturday night. But I'll tell you something. And we get home in the wee hours of the Sunday morning, hoping to take a good sleep until about midday. But my mother would have none of that. She would say that if you had enough energy to go to party the night before, you must get up and go and thank God for the energy that you had. She would say this to me, and I had, you know, I could not in any way object to that. I had to go. So to you, Mom, wherever you are in this pathway of eternal life, I thank you. I thank you for the lessons that have been taught and for the lessons that have been learned that have brought me to this point. I thank you for the lessons that have been taught and the lessons that have been learned that have brought me to this point. And I'm sure that there are many of you sitting here who would also want to pay homage and pay tribute to your mothers who have gone before, to pay tribute to them for the lessons that have been taught and for the lessons that have been learned. And for this we say, thank thee, thank thee, thank thee, Lord. But of course, it will be naive of me not to recognize that in the wider society today, that there are some women, some mothers for whom the term Happy Mother's Day may bring no joy at a time like this, because they are challenged in a variety of ways. I speak, for example, about women and mothers who may be the victims of domestic abuse, who even as we speak this morning about Happy Mother's Day, may be the victims at the hands of some of the male folk who profess to love them, but who act in contradistinction to the love that they profess, and who may be even beating them now on Mother's Day. So we spare a prayerful thought, and of course in some of those instances, you know, they would end rather tragically. And so we wish to spare a prayerful thought for such mothers this morning. We wish to spare a prayerful thought to mothers who may have lost one or more of their children, and at times in very tragic circumstances, and that is difficult to deal with. That kind of bereavement, at times it may take quite a while before they can even get over that. So we want to spare a prayerful thought for such mothers this morning. You know, it is the expectation of every parent that you are the ones who will be buried by your children, when your children become adults and you live that long, that they are the ones who will bury you or have you cremated. But when it happens the other way around, and you are the ones that will have to bury your children, of course it hurts. It hurts. So we pay tribute to such mothers this morning who may not have the physical presence of some of their children because of demise. We also think of those mothers whose children may have chosen a path in life, not for their highest good, and may be running afoul of the law. Some of whom may be incarcerated this morning, even as we speak, and not able to spend Mother's Day with their mothers, or even Mother's Day with their wives, the children of their mothers. So we spare a prayerful thought for such mothers as well. And some of those mothers, you know, with children who are incarcerated, may even be blaming themselves for their children's predicament, for their children's incarceration. So to all such mothers as I have outlined, we say to you this one, and all the mothers who may be viewing this broadcast and this sermon on the various social media platforms, I'm saying to you this morning that this too is your day. And to you we say, Happy Mother's Day. To you we say that whatever you may be going through, that behind every dark cloud, there's going to be a silver lining. I say to you this morning that Beyond the darkness of human limitation, there's a light. And the light will lighten your path as you trust in the Lord. I'm saying to you this morning that you can take comfort from the words of our ascended pastor, elder brother, Jesus Christ, when he said, in the world ye may have tribulations, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. Take comfort from the words of our worshipper and elder brother Jesus Christ, when he said, cast your burden upon me, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Take inspiration from the words of Jesus when he said in John 14 verse 27, my peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, but a peace that passeth all understanding. Let not your heart be troubled. And so to you we say, continue to trust in the Lord. Continue to trust in the love of God, for the love of God, as we were told in that opening song, is a what?
Grand love.
Is a grand love. It never fails. It conquers all. It never dies. And you, as mothers, wherever you may be this morning, you as mothers are channels and instruments of this grand love of God, now and forevermore. And so I end by referring once again to those words given to us by Gina Hill in song, which tell us that there's nothing in the world like a mother's love. There's nothing that you and you and you and you can do that can change that love for you. Happy Mother's Day. God is blessing you now.
Well, Martin, I would like to thank you very much for that wonderful, wonderful sermon. And I think that we all appreciate, and it has sent us back reflective of the experiences that we have had with our own mothers, knowing that a mother's love is really the first expression of God's love. And for that, Martin, I would like to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.